over the last sort of 3 or 4 or 5 years, I've messed around with like inhibitions and vulnerability and loads of different angles towards life to work out all the things that are going on in your mind towards the actual reality. So, like, you know, vulnerability comes across in psychology. You know, like psychology, you'd see everyone folding their arms and keeping themselves huddled up so no one can hurt them. And then there's poses like this, where you're cracking yourself open to the environment. You know, I'm like opening my heart up to the environment, and that can cause a lot of feelings of like vulnerability, because obviously you're cracking yourself in positions that are not usual. So people feel like with your inhibitions, what is that fella doing, or what am I doing? So that's one of my biggest growths I've ever had, is to feel the vulnerabilities and inhibitions. So I purposely spend a lot of time cracking myself open, opening my heart to the environment and to the world, nature. I mean, I'm cracking open to the sun, the oxygen, the light, the people saying stuff. And really, when people are saying stuff or they want to criticise or have negative opinions, that's so small compared to me opening myself up to the world, opening myself up to the sun, the clouds, and nature, and being part of nature. You know, like the way we grow and what we are, we're like a tree and we're rooting ourselves. So me to be vulnerable is very grounding once you get over the feeling of being vulnerable, because you can see that those sort of actions, they don't work out for you to be vulnerable. Nothing happens to you, but what does happen is that you start to get feelings. All the stuff that you've thought about in your life has caused you stress and caused you from being vulnerable, feeling like you don't want to be vulnerable. Well, when you start to crack those open, those feelings, they dissipate. So then you start to become a very natural in your body person. And when you can get yourself in your body, that vulnerability, you realise that it's all in your heads. And that's the same as inhibition. Inhibition, you're standing there and you're feeling embarrassed because your hair sticks up, or you don't want to do a handstand there because everyone's going to look at you, or you don't want to do whatever you think is embarrassing. But inhibitions and vulnerability have been my massivest breakthroughs, my biggest breakthroughs, because inhibition stops you from doing things because you're embarrassed. So, and you'll find all those things that you've felt that you've got inhibitions about, well, that will be a massive part of your life. Like, there'll be chapter after chapter, if you want to put it into book terms, or some sort of evaluation of how much you don't do because of inhibitions. So once you start getting involved in feeling an inhibition, the embarrassment, and then doing the thing that makes you feel embarrassed, well, there you go. There's a massive grow in your feelings. There's a massive grow in your experience. And ultimately, a human is a feeling machine. We're made to feel. We've got all these senses to feel our environment. So cracking yourself open and cracking yourself to vulnerability and sending your heart out there, that's a huge thing, because you can get used to that feeling of being open. And that's a beautiful thing for people that want to talk to you, or feelings of nature, or the interaction of nature with humans, animals, or whatever it is. So, like, it's such an important, massive feeling curve where you can experience lots of amazing feelings. And like I say, inhibitions, I've done it everywhere. You go to places like a third world country and you're an English white guy, everyone wants to look at you. You are a minority. I've been in places where I am the only white person, but because I enjoy training and I enjoy, exercise and stuff, I'm not going to stop because I'm in the middle of a market that's in the middle of nowhere and I'm the only white guy. So then I've gone around and done all my exercises, all my training, and been vulnerable and up to judgment and being, like I say, inhibitions. And but the amount of reward is unfathomable. You could never believe how much of a book, how you're missing half of your book if you don't show vulnerability and you don't play with inhibitions, because that's all the stuff that you're not doing because you feel vulnerable and then you feel embarrassed. And if you want to break your life into some natural way, you have to get rid of your mind and the thoughts that are going on, stopping you doing the things that are correct or the things that are embodying. Your body loves it, and then you can experience the reward of people watching you do vulnerability and inhibition, and then every human feels the same. So when you promote that inhibition, and then everyone can see that you're doing what they want to do. So what do you think happens? I'll tell you what happens. Everyone comes and goes, wow. Everyone comes and says a beautiful thing. Everyone comes and stand close and they watch. So all you're doing is stirring up a mass of feelings for everybody, and you're all interacting and you're getting embodied with nature and natural feelings, and from that you can get a massive grounding and feel a lot more healthy in your own self, because now you're not embarrassed anymore and you're getting rewards and you've got no inhibitions. There's always inhibitions to go and play with, like dancing and playing ballet. For me, I'm an alpha male, but I can't explain enough, vulnerability, inhibitions. Go give it a try. It'll be some of the most amazing results you've ever done. And like I say, inhibitions is a massive thing. You might find it's jumping off mountains wherever and you're getting scared, or like you want to go and dance in the street, there's too many people looking at you. Well, just go and try it, and I guarantee that you will come down to a neutral body after that. All those anxieties, all those feelings, you become much more in your human nature. And it's from that where you start to see all the disguises, all the stuff that's hidden in you from past results, whether it be rape, breakups, anger, sort of like sorted situations, basically anything in life that's got feelings on top of your natural ambience. So when you start to crack open vulnerability and inhibitions, you start to come to yourself, and then you will notice all the things that are making you fast or angry, and then you can notice that and try and resolve it towards something. You can resolve those issues, and then you become much more to yourself. So over the last 5 years, that's what I've done, is crack myself to vulnerability, played with inhibitions, and then realised all the little feelings that I've got, and I've worked out where they come from, because they're not natural. They've happened in my environment, and it stimulated me to feel some sort of wiriness or some sort of agitation. And then, like I say, because I brought myself to neutral, I can see where that come from, and then I can resolve it. All the time you don't go in and play with all your vulnerabilities, you won't ever resolve the inside feelings of yourself and where they come from and why you've got them. And so many things happen in life to come along and stimulate that you definitely need to think about yourself, play with vulnerability and inhibition, and get that massive neutralisation of weird energies and bring it all down so you can get in your body and come back out and be the flower that you are.